name is Aaron. I'm 24 years old from Perth, Australia. There we go. Usually I get booed, but I'll take it. So I actually lived there most of my life. I did school there, went to a college called Murdoch University, and I studied sports turf management. So that's essentially going to be qualified in an overpaid gardener. So pretty exciting. But yeah, I worked on golf courses for most of my life before this. Then I actually got an international internship scholarship in Ohio, in America. So I actually lived down, I did my internship in Alabama, but went to Ohio State. So I did a year there last year, and then I moved up here to the Rockies. So quite the climate change, that's for sure. Where's everybody from here? Shout me out some names. Sydney, woo! There we go. Anywhere else? Oh, there we go. Nice.
Taiwan.
What was that? Taiwan. Nice. Oh, there we go. Sweet. So we got Pennsylvania, there we go. So we got a mix of people here, I like that. It's good. But did everybody come from Banff or Jasper or something like that? Yeah? Toronto, beautiful. But so, has anybody been on a roller coaster before? You've been on a roller coaster before?
Yes.
Good. If you haven't, you're about to. So this is what I like to call the Athabasca Fall, or the Athabasca Free Fall. Which one do you like to do?
Free fall.
Do you want to do the safe version or the unsafe version?
Free fall.
Free fall. Oh, okay.
I'll show you how each
But this is one of the steepest roads in the world. So it's actually a 32%. Alright, this is about as fast as we're going to go, guys. Hopefully they're at the bottom. Oh, look at that. So they're all the way down there, guys. This is your last chance if you want to get off. I can't go much further, guys, before we have to go. Alright, we'll go. Sounds like everybody's trusting me, which is surprising, but... Alright. If I stop talking, it's because I'm nervous too. Nah, I'm good. We'll be fine. If anybody's been to San Francisco before, this is very similar. Yeah. So, I'm sure you're all wondering how we're staying on this hill nice and slow like this. Well, these Ice Explorers were specifically built for this, pretty much. So it's a very cool vehicle. There's actually, this is one of 24 in the world. So there's 24 Ice Explorers in the world. We own 22 of them. So can anybody guess where the other two are?
He said crash.
If anybody said Antarctica, you would be correct. Antarctica is where the other two belong, and they are owned, one by the United States and the other by Australia. So the United States one is called Ivan Materibus, and Australia, we're very good at shortening things. We called ours the 24th. But these buses, when the first bus that we actually have the oldest one here. The oldest one was built in 1986, and it was built for about 350,000 Canadian. So it's pretty expensive for that time. This bus right now that we're in is actually a Mercedes-Benz engine, and it's worth about 1.3 million Canadian, or about 5,000 US. I knew my friends from the United States would have enjoyed that one. Yeah. But the other thing that's pretty expensive about these things is the tyres. So you all would have seen the tyres when we come through here. When you guys got on, you would have seen them. They're pretty big, right? But the tyres are designed specifically for the glacier, so they have a minimal impact on the tyres, on the glacier, sorry. The old Ice Explorers before this model actually had a track just like that excavator there on your right. So they had a track exactly like that, but they were doing a lot more damage to the glacier. So they ended up bringing these tyres in just so that we could have less impact on the glacier. But these tyres come at a cost. They're about 5,000 Canadian dollars per tyre. So $30,000 and gets you a set of these tyres. And we go through about one a year. So yeah, fairly expensive exercise, but it is keeping the glacier at a minimal impact. So, can I get a hands up who thinks we're on the glacier right now? All of you. Oh, you weren't too sure about it now. You are, guys. If you put your hand up, you're correct. We are actually on the glacier already. So all of this debris and rocks and stuff here, that's actually just coming down off the lateral moraine, which is what we just come down, or off the mountains around us. But underneath, you'll see on the left here, is actually ice. So this is actually part of the glacier. It's not the main part of the glacier, but it is still part of it. Once upon a time, it would have been part of the main area. But this is actually called stagnant ice now. So it doesn't move with the rest of the glacier. As all on the right there that you see, that actually does move. So the reason it moves is because of that flow down. It comes down and moves at about 10 to 15 meters per year, or about 35 to 55 feet. It's going to absorb the sun rays. So we want that because we want the glacier to be here as long as possible. But I'm sure you're wondering how the glacier got here. Well, there's actually an outlet glacier, which means that it's actually fed from a source. So the source being the Columbia Icefield. So the Columbia Icefield is all the way up the back end of the glacier, up the top of the hill there. You can just see the edge of it. So the Columbia Icefield, if you have been to Banff already, is actually 43 times the size of Banff. So you can fit Banff 43 times just up on that icefield. So it gives you an idea of how big it is. It's between 165 and 200 square kilometres. And it feeds 6 glaciers, so this being one of them. But the way I like to explain it is, if you think of the Columbia Icefield as a big frozen lake, and then the Athabasca Glacier is kind of like a big frozen river coming off the lake. So that's the easiest way to explain it. But there's also another 5 glaciers that come directly from the icefield. So this is the Athabasca, then we also have Saskatchewan, Dome Glacier, Stumpfield, Castle Guard, and the Columbia. So they're the other glaciers, and they're all fed by the icefield. The reason they're fed by the icefield, or the reason they can survive here, is because of the icefield. So this is not high enough in elevation to actually create its own glacial ice throughout the year, as opposed to any alpine glaciers. So if you look up to your left, guys, you're going to see a big wall of ice in between 2 mountains. You see it up there? Yeah. That's actually Double A Glacier. So Double A Glacier is an alpine glacier, and it's independent. So what that means is it can create its own glacial ice. So it relies on snowfall, but because it's way higher in elevation than this glacier, it's able to get quite a lot of snowfall throughout the year. So the snow piles up on top of that glacier, keeps piling up, and the pressure then forms glacial ice over a few years. But Double A is a pretty cool glacier. It's one of my favourites. I've actually climbed it. It's a pretty unique experience to climb up there. It's about 5 hours, but pretty fun times. It goes back a long way. It doesn't look very big right now, but it goes back a really long way. So pretty cool glacier. If you look a little bit further up towards the right, on the next mountain, there's another glacier there. So that glacier is similar to Double A. It's actually called Andromeda. But Andromeda is slightly different though. It's actually called a cirque glacier, but it's still an alpine glacier, so it still does feed itself. But a cirque glacier, the easiest way I can explain it is if anybody's ever used an ice cream scoop, you take a big scoop of ice cream out of that new tub of ice cream, and then now look back at that mountain, and if you took a big
I'm slipping too much. Go ahead. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's.
Weight over your feet.
Wenn da jetzt die Leute nicht gerade wären, dann. 나 이게 스무 살이야. 나도. 대박이다. 아, 대박이다. 너 어떡하냐, 솔직히 너물 담가도. 진짜? 너 빨갛지, 시뻘겋지?泰国。哎，再这样，哎，这样再来一个。안 먹어도 돼. Well, it's so like. 어.